If Alesis aren't going to fix the triggering issues with the Strata Prime, we may as well just do it ourselves. Luckily enough, a lot of the videos that I've made about the kit have gained a decent amount of traction, which has led to upwards of 1,000 views per video, which has allowed me to receive a whole lot of different comments, all with their own suggestions on how to fix the mistrigger issues with the Alesis Strata Prime kit. The two most consistent solutions that people keep recommending in the comments is to, first of all, just tune up the drum heads. When Alesis ship out their drum kits, I'm going to assume that they loosen off the drum heads just to protect them from being punctured in case while they're traveling they get hit with something else or something like that, just to make sure that they're a little bit safer. And when we tighten up the drum heads, back to what it would basically feel like if I was playing an acoustic kit, it should mean that the sensor, the trigger sensor in the drums are going to be a little bit more sensitive and should help eliminate any triggering issues. So step one in today's tutorial is to tighten up the tension of, most importantly, the snare and kick drum. I will also make sure that my tom-toms feel natural as well. After we've done that, we can look at our second fix. Our second fix is going to be quite full on. There's a lot that we need to adjust here, all within the module. Now on the module there is a feature called X/Torque, which is your crosstalk feature, and what that is supposed to do is make sure that when I hit this tom-tom, for instance, my cymbals and the other drums around it are going to activate. The trigger sensors aren't going to pick up the vibrations of me hitting this drum and then cause everything else to make a noise. So the idea behind that is to eliminate any of that crosstalk between any of the drums, but apparently that is one of the big problems, one of the big causes of our trigger issues. So we need to turn that off. To turn off the crosstalk feature, we're going to go to Trigger Settings and then Learn X Torque. We're going to go here and then turn that off. Also bring the X Torque boost all the way down. Save. Now what we're going to need to do is jump onto Hit Select. We'll start with, the tom-tom, and we'll start adjusting the sensitivities of absolutely everything. The first thing that I did when I got my kit was to adjust the crosstalk feature, and once I did all of that, I then went through the module and adjusted all the head sensitivity, the threshold sensitivity and stuff like that. So I've made a lot of adjustments already in the module, and on top of that, I'm not really happy with the kits that I've built using the inbuilt samples. Because of this, I'm going to go into Settings and then click Factory Reset. Before I do this, I might actually just double check that I am updated to the latest update, which should be 1.3.1. As the module restarts, let me just briefly explain what we're going to be doing in the module to adjust all of the triggering issues. Now, the first thing we're going to do is turn off the crosstalk feature, which will just be under the trigger settings in the module. Then on the top right, you will find your crosstalk feature. We'll turn that off and make sure that everything is dialed back as low as it can go. And now that the X-Torque feature is eliminated from the kit, we can start adjusting the sensitivity of the head and the rims of each of the drums, except for the kick drum. You can also adjust on the cymbals. We've got 3 adjustments: the bow, edge, and bell sensitivity, and then also just our main threshold as well. On your kick drum, we have got only the one trigger sensor, which is just the standard one in the head of the drum. On every other drum and cymbal, we have got 3 different trigger zones. On the drums themselves, there are the main head hit there, which is on this little slot there, and then you've got the rim and then a rim shot on slots 2 and 3. That is the same on all of the drums. And then with our cymbals, so the 4 crashes and the ride, we have got 3 slots as well. The first one, that will be for the bow sensitivity. Edge sensitivity is going to be the second one, and then the third one will be the bell. This screen, especially with these 3 slots, is going to be exceptionally important when we start looking at all of the threshold sensitivities. But for now, we're going to focus on just the head and rim sensitivities of each of the drums and cymbals. As you can see here, at the moment, my head sensitivity is set to 2.8 and then 2.4 for the rim sensitivity. The rim is pretty much going to be fine. I'm happy with the way it is. The head sensitivity, I might slightly boost up a little bit. 3.5 seems to be okay. So what I'll do is select that, leave the rim sensitivity, and then save. I'll go save as, tick, whatever. Now, if we find this again, here we have 2 of the exact same thing. One is the Alesis Strata Prime 14-inch drum user, and then this one is Alesis. So that is the factory settings. that is set by Alesis, and then these are my personal one. The quick way to check that out is also with that little blue person there. I'm going to star that, save it, and then we will move on to my tom-toms. I'm pretty happy with the sensitivity on all of these drums. After adjusting the sensitivity on all the drums and cymbals, we can then have a look at the threshold sensitivity, which is essentially what is used by the crosstalk feature. If my threshold sensitivity is too low on my ride, for instance, when I hit something like one of the tom-toms, my ride might accidentally activate just because of the vibrations caused through the rack by hitting the other tom-toms. So if the threshold is too low, other cymbals and drums might accidentally activate when I've not hit them. On the other side, if my threshold is set way too high, that means that I, first of all, might not get the same amount of dynamics that I'm looking for, so it might not have that acoustic feel that we've tried to build with the sensitivity. If my threshold is way too high, the other problem is you might not actually always be able to trigger a sound. So if I hit this drum and then my ride cymbal activates accidentally, that means my threshold on the ride is too low and I need to boost that up. If I hit my ride and there is no sound, that means that the ride threshold is too high and we need to lower it a little bit. So we're going to start with the snare drum just to make our life easy, where we have got these 3 different slots. So again, your first slot is going to be the head, then you've got your rim, and then rim shot. So if I hit other drums around it, and one of these 3 slots starts activating, that means that we need to adjust the threshold of whatever that corresponds to, either on the rim or the head of the drum. So let's start by hitting something like my kick drum. If I start thumping that, I can see there that we have a little peak right in the middle, that second slot, which is going to be the cross stick. So just your standard rim hit instead of the rim shot. But regardless, it doesn't really matter because you've only got one rim threshold adjustment. I'm going to boost that up probably about there, just to maybe 6. And then I'll hit my kick drum again and see if that has fixed the problem. There we go. So as you can see there, the little blue line is sort of reaching just there at my brand new white line, which is where the threshold sensitivity is now set to. Which means, essentially, my snare drum should now be adjusted completely fine with the threshold. My head threshold is completely fine. My rim threshold has now been adjusted. Let's try one of the other drums like the tom-tom. When hitting my hi-hat, I notice that my rim threshold is still a little bit low. So I'm going to boost that up right to about 10. And now every hit that I do with every drum around my snare will not activate anything within the triggering of the snare drum. So that is now set. Let me explain that again, but this time we'll use our tom-tom. So, tom-tom 1. All we need to do is hit every single drum around our tom-tom. So start with the kick. The kick drum isn't causing the tom-tom triggers to activate. We'll try the snare. Tom-tom 2, however, is activating the middle sensor, which is going to be one of our rim thresholds of our tom-tom, which means we'll need to boost up the rim threshold just enough to make sure it reaches the top of the peak when I play with the tom-tom. And now as I hit tom-tom 2, tom-tom 1 isn't being activated at all, so we can save that. As we save all of these, I'll also favorite them, just to make sure they are easily accessible here in the favorites tab. Let's reiterate all of that again, but this time with the idea that we will be adjusting the threshold sensitivity of crash 1. So in the module, we select C1, and then we watch crash 1, watch those 3 different slots, and as we are watching that, we're going to hit all of the drums surrounding crash 1. These other drums might shake the rack and cause the sensor in the crash to be triggered. If that is happening, we may need to adjust the threshold up a little bit. If we don't have any of the peaking of the 3 slots due to the shaking of the rack, then your threshold is going to be completely fine. So you literally just need to sit there and watch C1 and see if, as you're hitting all the other drums, there's a little spike with that blue, which tells you that you need to slightly adjust the threshold sensitivity. That is all you are doing. Next, we have the best part of this video. We just need to mess around with the kit and see if any of the adjustments that we've made are completely fine, or if they need more tweaking or anything like that. So I'm just going to sit here for the next, I don't know, 15-20 minutes and just jam, just improvise, come up with random things and hope that all of the settings have been properly adjusted and the kit has now got the triggering issues no more. I'm quite happy with that actually. All I've really done is boost the sensitivity slightly on Tom Tom 3 and raise the volume on my snare. That's it. Otherwise I'm quite happy. I'm going to sit here for a little bit longer and just see how this goes. So I'll update you in, I might actually jam along to a few songs and just mess around with some stuff, and I'll let you know how that goes. It's now 10:15 and I've been playing the drums for maybe an hour. I messed around with some Creed and some Foo Fighters, and I did some of my own music, and I just played with and without the music in my ears, my Bluetooth and everything. And I've been playing the kit for about an hour, and I don't think I've found any trigger issues. That's not to say that they're gone. That's just to say in the last hour, I haven't experienced a missed trigger. So that's at least a big amount of progress. This video is only part 1 of the tutorial to fix the mistriggering issues on the Strata Prime, because I'm hoping that a lot of you might have some further suggestions that you might let me know in the comment section below. If that is the case, I'll be able to make a part 2 to hopefully increase our odds at fixing the triggering issues with the Strata Prime. If you have any questions, or more importantly, if you have any suggestions, please let me know. Otherwise, thank you all so much for watching. I will see you later.